So we come to our first minor issue of penetration point through the perimeter. So a good way to protect these would be to add an additional collar to this particular penetration point. We'll insert a Kordon collar around that pipe. We'll also ensure that this is wrapped with Kordon and that we're protecting this correctly by cutting a nice little hole in the Kordon and compressing the Kordon around this secondary water feed and tying it all into our perimeter barrier. Again, we need to get our thinking cap on a little bit, and we will obviously install a collar around the outside of this pipe. We will have to be mindful of the other penetration that's right next to this pipe here, which is for a water feed, I'd suggest. So we need to make sure that that's completely wrapped, and then we can tie that into our perimeter barrier as well. Clear enough room around the pipe so that we can make sure that we're getting sufficient Kordon around it to tie into the perimeter barrier. So again, we'll take, probably in this circumstance, about ½ a metre of Kordon wrap. And we'll use that black side out again to install to our, nice and tightly install to our plumbing penetration here. So again, it's important at stage 1 to make sure that you're wrapping prior to the slab pour high enough so that you can get your Kordon all the way up to meet the slab perimeter. Bit of tape around the top. Okay. Now we'll install a collar over that pipe, keeping in mind that we've just wrapped the pipe next to it. So we need to work out exactly where that pipe is. It's about there. Neat little trick is to cut the corner off that. Might need a little bit more than that. A pair of scissors might come in handy, but Kordon cutter's just as good generally. Got a nice little hole. And that should just squeeze over the pipe. Pull down. And we can get a cable tie now around that lip. Okay, so we've installed the wrap to the surface penetration. Now the drainage has a collar on it. We've slotted the collar on, made a hole in the side of our flange to allow for a really nice tight fit over that drainage penetration. It allows the lip to come up on the Kordon so you can actually put a cable tie around that and nice and tightly have that in place. Now we want to put some cable ties around our collar, the penetration. This is where it's important to keep 10mm off the bottom, off the flange, so we don't tear that flange. And we want 2 cable ties, nice and tightly wrapped. And we've re-protected our penetration point. Now that's ready to tie into the perimeter. Now that we've installed our collar to protect the plumbing penetrations through the perimeter, we want to re-expose that chalk line for the carpenter so that he can see where it is. So that's where a pair of scissors come in handy, as long as they're sharp. Or we can use a pair that don't seem to be sharp enough. We can use a Kordon cutter and just carefully re-expose that line. Now we'll apply some glue underneath the Kordon. To glue our perimeter nicely.